This is a former FBI agent, right? And we've talked about some of these citizen journalist things on the show before, like with James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, where they will take people that are higher up on in government offices, political campaigns, tech companies, pharmaceutical companies, you name it, and they'll get them on dates. They'll match up with them on dating apps, and whether they're straight or gay, they'll find someone to go along with them, and they'll go hidden camera. They'll get these guys liquored up, and then the second these guys think they're about to get laid, they just start spilling the beans. I mean, that's you hear all these enhanced interrogation tactics about like Dick Cheney and the CIA and how they extract information out of terrorists. All you got to do is make these guys think they're going to get laid, and there is no secret they will not tell you. Is what it seems like if they think it's going to get them laid. That seems to be the vibe here. Well, this is from it's at Sound Investig on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, short for Sound Investigations. Soundinvestigations.com is the website. They set up Mr. Gavin O'Blennis, a contracting officer for the Central Intelligence Agency, former FBI higher-up. Well, they went on a couple of dates with Mr. O'Blennis, and we're going to play the video. It's like 7.5 minutes, 7 minutes, 48 seconds here. And we're going to play the video for you. We're going to break it down as we go. If you want to watch the full video, it's, unedited. Not unedited, but uninterrupted. It's on the Post Millennials Twitter account. So we're going to play the video for you. We'll break it down. We'll pause in between. And I got to be honest, guys, this is some pretty damning stuff for the old FBI here on a couple of different a couple ways. This is pretty bad. I'll go ahead and play it for you without further ado.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
And we get really close. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just got to give them a quick little, just to see what happens. Sometimes you like the fuse.
This is the preview, though. They'll play the full thing out in just a second here.
And just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting out a fake social media thing to really get people mad.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are?
We did what we wanted.
Which was what?
Took his money away, chopped his legs off.
Gavin O'Blennis is a contracting officer at the CIA. O'Blennis worked for the FBI in 2021 and 2022 in the San Diego office, moved on to Homeland Security where he conducted asylum interviews at the southern border, and now works for the CIA managing multi-million-dollar contracts across government agencies and private sector vendors.
I work for, how do I put this without, I'm not supposed to tell people kind of job. If I say intelligence, what do you think?
It's always good when you start a date off with an I'm not supposed to tell people kind of job. That's when they ask what you do for a living. That's someone that wants to spill all of the government's darkest secrets to you right there. He just wants you to ask and kind of hint that you're going to give it up tonight.
CIA?
Yep.
Oh, you work for the CIA?
I do.
That's incredible.
I'm a contracting officer.
That's amazing.
So I deal a lot with different agencies. We're contracting with Director of National Intelligence to do stuff. We do Navy, Army, any of them really. FBI. I used to work for the FBI, so they threw the FBI at me. They're like, here, you used to work there. Oh, I'm permanent. I'm
good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, why do they call it contracting?
Because I do the contract. I do all the legal contracts. I fly out to vendors and evaluate them. I love.
So this guy is fully ready. I mean, over the course of this video, he's going to spill so many different secrets from the Bureau. I mean, just so quickly. Hold on just a second here.
The agency.
Good for you.
I like the Bureau, too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau. I was the guy in the back of the truck in the van.
O'Blennis spoke to an undercover Sound Investigations reporter about his work experience involving near entrapment and his employer's involvement with political commentator Alex Jones's legal battles.
As long as the Bureau is able to progress far enough to be able to put pro-lifers in jail whenever they want.
Yeah.
You think that's on the agenda?
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up. You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. It's a fine line.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
And we get really close.
Not officially.
No. We get as close as we can. We
can just...
So, side note, Alex Jones aside, every single case right now that's currently in or awaiting trial where you had an FBI informant involved, where someone was undercover, where the FBI was in any way, shape, or form in contact with the defendants, just went up in smoke. And that's not, again, Alex Jones aside, the FBI, I know we give them a hard time on the show, they do investigate legitimate criminals. I mean, you're talking human traffickers, pedophiles, just went out the window because of this idiot. And if you've been convicted, if you're sitting in jail and an informant took you down, the appeal, you're going to have an appeal line a mile long. Everything is up in the air now because of this video. This is some heavy shit.
Close as we can to it without doing it.
So they can entrap some of these pro-lifers into doing things that they don't...
Yeah. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge.
Oh, a nudge. We just nudge you into committing that terror attack. We don't force you to do it. I mean, come on. We just, we're more qualified and we're better talkers, and we immediately ascend to the top of your group, and then we convince all of you, Jim Jones style, to go do something that otherwise never even would have crossed your mind. But it's just a nudge.
Sometimes you just got to give them a quick little, just to see what happens, right?
And how does that happen?
You put a post out there, or you have someone fake profile say something that triggers, that we know is going to trigger them.
Again, they were talking about how back in 2016, it may or may not have been worth going to war with Russia because they were accusing Russia of doing exactly what he's saying there, of making fake social media accounts that post inflammatory things to rile people up and sow division. And our own government just admitted they do that to pro-life groups so they can destabilize them and delegitimize them in the public eye. Keep that in mind.
Like, we already know your history. If we're to that point, we already know everything about it. So we're like, oh, this will piss them off. Oh, sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow, right?
Like a rally. Mm-hmm. So when a rally happens, that's sometimes the bureau behind it?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, meaning the ones that get violent and the ones where people, and he'll admit to even worse shit later on, and you'll understand where I'm going here. So when you see the people with the misspelled signs or really racist stuff, horrific stuff like that, that's on signs and t-shirts, probably feds trying to delegitimize these movements.
Definitely putting out a fake social media thing to like really get people mad. Mm-hmm. Post fake news. Sometimes it's not fake. It's embellished a little bit.
Who would be like a big influencer that you're after? You're like a...
Also, how can this guy not... it feels like he's in an interview right now. How can he not tell what's going on?
I don't know, like I don't even know these names, like a Fox News person or like a Tucker Carlson or like...
Oh, I'm sure he's on the radar, right? You always want the biggest and loudest. Like that, what was his name? The one that said Sandy Hook didn't happen.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are? Are you still after him?
Yeah.
Why?
He's broke. He got found guilty and had to pay like $100 million.
So why were you after him?
We're not anymore.
Just to get the money from him?
Yeah.
Was that court case used? Was that a CIA
Sure
thing?
was.
That was an agency thing?
Well, actually it was a defamation case. So it's a civil, not government. But we were looking at all of his followers, commenting, following, like, who's that going to lead us to, right? So...
Oh, who can we rile up and get to do something they otherwise never would have done that follows Alex Jones? Because we know Alex Jones is a very mentally stable following, right?
Even though it's technically not not the agency, definitely, but the Bureau, for instance. Yeah, that's not our purview. It's a civil matter. But since they got all this access to his stuff and it's there, what can we go find?
And did you find anything?
I can't tell you if we did. But, so, it's just kind of like, realize the opportunity that you have.
So with Alex Jones, you were watching him long before.
This is another date now. So this guy's managed to score like 2 or 3 dates with this dude, for those of you listening on audio.
Anything end up happening?
Probably. It wasn't my office, but I mean, we would have been well aware of what he was doing.
And the goal with him was what? Just to bankrupt him?
Oh, pretty much.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, we the intelligence agencies, the FBI and the CIA, you know, we're supposed to be protecting America, foreign and domestic, right? You know, from legitimate criminals, drug traffickers, pedophiles, human traffickers, pimps, terrorists, arms dealers. Yeah, we try to bankrupt private citizens because we don't like what they say. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? What? Who cares, right? It's just crazy old Alex Jones.
And we let the families do it.
What?
We let the families do it.
Were they encouraged to do that by the Bureau? Like nudged?
We don't encourage people,
But like,
we just say
Yeah, they do. He just said in the last one that they do.
there's no federal statute being broken, but you do have the option for a civil case.
So here's my question. Alex, as he said, no federal statute was broken. He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't tell anybody to go do anything violent. He said kids didn't die. If that's the case, why would the FBI be in contact with these families about this court case? Unless this was a pointed attack from the establishment, from the intelligence agencies, to shut somebody up that maybe has a little too big of a mouth.
It's a pretty good case, in
nice.
our opinion.
So, that makes so much sense. I have a cousin who's a lawyer. So that's a lot of these cases. They're kind of encouraged by the FBI.
Yeah, like, there's nothing federal law we can do, but civilly, we can go at him that way and chop his legs off.
I love when the government talks about chopping private citizens' legs off. And as we know, we have to take that literally, right? Not financially, literally.
And they did. So the FBI was happy.
We didn't care. We were like, oh.
Basically, the citizens did your job.
Yeah.
The citizens did their job. His job being to shut down a private citizen member of the media that was saying something that the establishment didn't like. This is a bombshell for those of you that are kind of teetering right now, that aren't sure where we're going with this. This is a bombshell. I don't care what your opinion of Alex Jones is. I don't like the idea of the federal government and the intelligence agencies being able to target private citizens in the media and attempting, as he says right there, to ruin them financially because they don't like what they're saying. Put your biases and whatever opinions you have of Alex. I also don't like him putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. But put your biases and opinions about. This could be about Cenk Uygur, Hassan, Destiny. It doesn't matter. Someone totally opposite side of Alex Jones and myself. It doesn't matter. It's the principle of the matter. It's wrong no matter who's in the White House, and it's wrong no matter who they're doing it to.
Wow, so you can encourage a civil lawsuit.
Not encourage. Educate.
What can you do with
Educate. Not encourage, just a little nudge.
people like Alex Jones now? Because he's still out there. Yeah. He's still chirping.
He can chirp.
Are you still watching him?
Yeah.
Why?
We did what we wanted.
Which was what?
Took his money away.
Took his money. So it's like the mafia. It's like the mafia. They're a gang. Yeah, we're not going to kill you, but we'll let you know not to fuck with us anymore. And that's what I said from the beginning. I said this when they issued out the bogus judgment against Alex Jones. This was never about what he said or didn't say. This was never about making money off these dead kids. This was about sending a message that, just like they're doing to Trump, don't you dare step out of line. Anyone who does step out of line, this is what's going to happen to you. We will ruin you financially. And the average guy doesn't have the resources to fight back that these two do. So the average guy is just going to shut up and say it's not worth it. That's the end game. There, he's saying it right there. Our goal was to take his money away to shut him up. Or, excuse me, our goal was to take his money away to punish him for saying things we didn't like. Because it's not about shutting Alex Jones up. They know that someone like that's never going to shut up. It's about shutting you up. It's about shutting the average guy up. Because, like I said, the average guy sees these people that are worth money he could never even dream of and say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't I shouldn't post that Facebook status. Maybe I shouldn't retweet that. You know, maybe I shouldn't go to that pro-life rally. Whatever the case may be. It's about shutting you down and breaking your will.
We shut him up for a while.
Oh, we shut him up for a while.
We're never going to shut him up permanently.
Well, there is a way to do that, and they've done it to people in the past. His bosses at the CIA have, at least. Hopefully they don't do that.
Unless you put him in prison.
But again, he didn't do anything to go to prison. Being ignorant is not a crime, though it should. Being ignorant's not a crime, though it should be. See, that's exactly what they think you. The folks, the good folks at the FBI and the CIA, while they recognize that it's not a crime to think differently than the mainstream, they think it should be.
It is. I mean, what you could bring a nudge.
He did incite a riot, like
Cheeto. Adorable.
He didn't encourage people to go shoot people. He didn't do anything.
Additionally, O'Bleness states that he knows and works with FBI agents who were undercover in the January 6th Capitol riot.
But before we get into this, the appeal cases, if he can get a real lawyer this time for this Sandy Hook trial, are going to be glorious. Because while it's absolutely tragic what happened to those people's kids, what you have to realize is their entire court case is based around him making money by lying about their dead kids. The ironic part of this is that they have made far more money than he could, well, they're trying to, at least. Last I heard, they haven't been paid. But they're trying to get more money than he could have possibly ever attained in his entire life off of the backs of their dead kids. That's the ironic part, and that's sick. And it gets to the point where, what's worse, you guys? Lying, and maybe not lying, saying that someone's kids didn't die at a mass shooting, or using your dead kids as a get-rich-quick scheme? What's more dishonorable? What do you think in the eyes of God on Judgment Day is going to get you in deeper shit? Saying, hey, I don't think these kids died, and speculating on an online conspiracy theory that he didn't start, by the way, or using your dead kids to make millions and millions of dollars? Open-ended question. Let me know what you think in the comments on Rumble.
Estimating about 20 field agents were there undercover. While O'Bleness notes that they were not involved in violence, this appears to be the first admission of undercover FBI agents in attendance.
I thought you said that there were FBI agents in the crowd at J6.
There always are when there's a big protest in D.C.
Which makes sense, because if there's a big protest, you do want to have people on the ground. That makes sense. There's no doubt about that. You want to have people on the ground, and you want to make sure that you have people communicating back with the headquarters to make sure that nothing violent goes on. But the question here is, are these people inciting some of these protesters? And if we can use deductive reasoning, like he said earlier on in the hidden camera interview, as we'll call it, they intentionally nudge people to do things that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have done. You could call that incitement, you can call that entrapment, whatever you want to call it. It ain't right. The feds shouldn't be creating chaos on the streets of the country they're supposed to be protecting. Can we agree on that? Especially not to destabilize threats to the power structure. So if we can use, I feel like a reasonable person could come to the conclusion that if they had agents on the ground, as he said, that those agents probably played a little bit of a role in people getting a little too rowdy, as he said.
Just in case it gets out of hand like that. But there wasn't enough to turn that tide. I mean, I'm talking they maybe have 20. You needed 1,000 to get rid of that crowd.
So they had like, that was just 20?
Yeah, just to go through and observe and see what I can hear, that kind of thing.
Wow. Definitely. They needed 1,000 at least.
Well,
Wow.
see, that's also Capitol Police jurisdiction. They're in charge.
So
Why they didn't have more on hand, I don't know.
The Bureau didn't really want people knowing that they were in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be overstepping their bounds.
A little bit.
Do people know that?
Why?
Did people know that the Bureau was in the crowd?
Nope, and probably never will.
You know agents that were there? Mm-hmm. Really?
They work for the agency now.
Man, oh man. So when we argue about freedom of speech, and people were saying, well, it's free speech, but Facebook and Twitter and Google and all these tech companies are private companies, so if they don't want to platform it, they don't have to, blah, 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 blah. And then we find out that the FBI and the CIA, this very FBI and CIA, and the administration were directly colluding with them to shut down speech that they didn't like or that painted them in a negative light. That's not freedom of speech. When you have an FBI agent on a hidden camera, higher up with the FBI and the CIA on a hidden camera, admitting to directly targeting and terrorizing people so that they can, quote unquote, break their legs. Cut their legs off. Sorry, I don't want to misquote him. And ruin them financially because they don't like what they're saying. You don't have freedom of speech. The First Amendment has been violated. And I'm going to tell you what, Sandy Hook families, your case ain't looking too hot right now either. Because if that video gets allowed in court, which I don't know, it seems like the judge was out to get him in the last one. Maybe he'll get a better judge this time around. But if that video gets permitted to use or is permitted to use in court, there's federal collusion on this trial. What's supposed to be a civil trial when he didn't break any federal statutes? He might be able to sue you guys, and I'm not a lawyer, but that's what it sounds like to me. Alex Jones is going to sue the FBI and the CIA for a violation of his civil rights, and I say, God damn it, good for you. Comes on the day he filed for bankruptcy. Sometimes God just sends little signs out like that as far as who's right and who's wrong. Wouldn't that be something? Alex Jones down, and you're talking Eli Manning 2007 Giants level upset if he manages to swing this around and turn it into a lawsuit that he wins against the FBI and the CIA. And you got to be careful because they have a history of dealing with people that cause them problems. So take that as you will. But I think this is something bigger here. This is something bigger here. And this is a platform that we as conservatives need to nut up or shut up about right now. Remember, I always talk about how I'm sick and tired of of Republicans and conservatives pointing out problems and never offering solutions. I see a problem. Let's offer a solution here. These alphabet agencies are a problem. The CIA, the FBI, the ATF. Let's run on the outright abolition of these agencies. Gone. Bye-bye. See you later. All three of them out the window. And we'll look at the DEA and the other ones later on. But those groups, or those agencies, gone. No mas. See ya. Get out of here. They have proven they cannot be trusted. They have proven. We played that video of that woman getting harassed for sharing an anti-Biden meme on Facebook the other day. They have proven that they are the personal Gestapo of the administration. They got to go. And it's time for Republicans to grow a pair and make that part of your campaign. Tell your base right now, if we get into office, the FBI is gonzo. CIA, gone. ATF, gone. A fuega, is that Malay in Argentina was saying? Let's do that. Let's fight back. Let's fight back against actual corruption. I don't give a shit about another Hunter Biden hearing. What good is that going to do? I don't want another Facebook Mark Zuckerberg hearing. There will be hearings, and we will do nothing with what we find in these hearings. No. I want you to draft a bill, if you can take the Senate and hold on to Congress and get Trump elected into the White House. Day one-page bill says the FBI's funding goes from whatever it is right now to zero. Defunded, gutted like a deer, gone. And they asked Caleb, if you're going to get rid of the FBI and the CIA, let's throw the IRS in there too. I just filed my taxes. I'm pissed off too, right? I got screwed on those. Let's throw them in there for fun. It's for funsies, right? You asked me, Caleb, if you're going to get rid of the FBI and the CIA and the ATF and the IRS, what would you replace it with? That's a great question. It's a real good question. I had a friend that went in for Went into the dermatologist not too long ago. They found some skin cancer on her nose. Not a big deal. Got it taken care of. But the treatment for the skin cancer was to go in and cut that out. Right? Now, when they cut that cancer out, what did they replace it with? The answer is nothing. When you cut a cancer out, when you cut something out that is actively destroying the body that it's attached itself to, you don't replace it with jack squat. You get rid of it and you torch it. And then you make sure it doesn't come back. That's what we need to do with the FBI. It's time to grow a pair and say the FBI is gone. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.